I'm Kelli White. I'm an author and the Director of Education at the Wine Center at Meadowood. I want to thank the Wine Education Council for inviting us here today to showcase some of the more exciting and dynamic initiatives going on in Napa Valley today. I'd also like to thank Dominus for hosting us. I am joined by Graeme Macdonald, Tod Mostero, and Julia Vink, three young, very exciting people doing really exciting projects.
2022 was a nearly perfect setup. The fruit was beautiful. It was kind of an ideal season. And at the beginning of September, we had a series of heat spikes. We broke the previous record, which was only in 2020, of heat. And so we reached 116 in the vineyard. And essentially, the fruit cooked on the vine. And we went from something that was very full of life to something that was dead. And we tried to make wine from that fruit, but it was essentially dead. And so it was a bit traumatic. Not only that we lost a vintage, which is, for people like us, it's a trauma. But it was a realization that after 2017, 2020, 2022, where each year we broke our peak temperature extreme, I realized that we could do one of two things. We could adapt to ever-rising temperatures, which is sort of cynical, because it's accepting or admitting that it's just going to continue to get hotter, or we can start to look at ways of farming that would actually reduce the temperature over time, at least locally. And so I started exploring the ways that we could farm in order to stabilize our local climates. And that includes a number of strategies based on an idea of slowing, spreading, sinking, and storing the water that falls in rainfall in our lands, where typical conventional land management tends to drain the water from our soils and progressively dry them, and dry soil, of course, becomes bare and is hotter than wet soil. So it's a whole approach.
And what is you founded a foundation to support this initiative. What's the name of it, and
Sure.
Who's your partner?
Sure. So Abuelitos Foundation was established in 2022. Abuelitos is a tender term for grandparents in Spanish. It pays homage to both my Chilean and Spanish roots. The idea really is that we farm on land that was passed on to us by our forefathers. And it is our role as parents and grandparents of future generations to care and steward that land. One of my partners is Mimi Castile from Oregon, and together we're working on inspiring the community, the collective, to farm a little differently, change the culture so that we are increasing the amount, we're starting with water, increasing the amount of water that the soil and the land can hold so that it's able to support healthy vegetation, which builds healthy ecosystems. And so we're working on pilot projects to do that.
Very exciting. I think it's just remarkable that you're taking this proactive climate initiative that says we can actually change the climate, not that we have to change ourselves and adapt to it. But you can't do it alone, right? And I know you touched on this, that you've had to tap other properties to buy into your vision and to work alongside you. But can you talk about the importance of community and kind of what the greater Napa Valley community is like, both the positives and the negatives?
Yeah, of course, yeah. We can't do it alone. I think the discovery we've made is that we can make little differences in temperature, measurable differences in temperature within our own vineyard. But alone, we're just a piece in a greater puzzle, and that piece has limited impact. It requires the community to work together to create the compounding effects of these changes. What's cool is that the little change that we make per day. Let's say we're 2 degrees cooler at where our grapes are ripening every day. 2 degrees less means you're evaporating that, you're reducing the amount of evaporation that you're pulling out of the ground, the water you're pulling out of the ground. So you're increasing the humidity within the system, which further cools it off. So it's something that both takes time. In fact, as we were talking with Graeme about Napa, the wine world's time clock is totally different from the rest of the world. Things happen on generational scales, and so the effect will only happen over time, and we have to give ourselves the time to make great wine, to plant and see a vineyard come into its own. And that may not be for us. It might be for our children. It might be for our grandchildren. We need to take our time, and we need to do it together.
If you could close your eyes and wake up in 10 years, what would you want for yourself, for the Abuelitos Foundation, and for Dominus?
If I were to accomplish my dream, I will have disappeared and left behind hopefully a model or a template for how to approach farming and how to approach our ecosystems, so that we are building and interweaving thriving ecosystems throughout our working lands. So that includes vineyards, ranches, all farmlands. And so that they are stable, resilient for generations to come. I guess, in short, to have left something for the next generation to build on.
And what about for Napa? What would you like to see change in Napa in 10 years?
A change in the culture of how we approach land management. It sounds kind of complex, but it just means slight shifts. So instead of draining our water from our soils, we are building up strategies in order to hold more water within our landscapes, so that they are capable of supporting healthy vegetation, which is the foundation of healthy systems, healthy life.
I hope you enjoyed this talk. Please come visit us in Napa Valley. There's a lot to discover.